Traveling with the queen of rock and roll. The COVID hit, now we're stuck at home. Instead of sitting on our ass, we came up with this sick podcast. Crewicide, Crewicide. Out of my way, you're in my line. Crewicide, Crewicide. The main four picks and sticks all night. Crewicide, Crewicide. Ha 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 ha. Crewicide, Crewicide. No autographs tonight. Can I get a set list, man? Hey, set list, please.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the Crewicide Live broadcast. It's Beef Henderson and Annie Stoic, and with us our special guest, an original Crewicide member before we were even called Crewicide, Joe Muller, a.k.a. Joey Klack, a.k.a. Muller Time, a.k.a. Mullerfucker. I mean, whatever. There's 1,000 of them. What's up, Joe?
Mullerfucker. I missed that one. How you doing, guys?
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
And he's an Emmy Award winning.
Don't forget Emmy Award winning. And I don't know her as Annie Stoic. I know her as Puss Puss.
Yes.
So that's what I know her as.
That's what my radio still says A+.
Yes. Nice. As opposed to Best Friend 2.
Yeah, BF2 to BF3.
Oh my God.
We'll get into that.
I'm sure we will.
So, yeah, you're going to be hearing a lot of terminology tonight and a lot of alternate names because this is someone that's very close to the Blackheart family. In fact, he's so close, he's just one dead Billy Crater phone call away.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
Dude, too soon, bro. Too soon. He has been beating up that new heart for a long time, though, hasn't he? So... you never know, but we do not wish for that. I say prayers for Billy all the time.
All the time. He's the only one that wishes for it.
This is true. Billy Crater was off the road for a while. Was the only time I had the pleasure of working with Joe Muller at front of house, and it was such a great experience because it was on in my earlier time touring, and you were such a great person to get into the business when we were talking about like mentors and things like that of like watching great people work.
I thought I was the great person to whatever he does. Don't do that moving forward. But
there's that too. Like what?
There was a handful of that.
But speaking of which, and of course we all need the Joe Muller seal of approval. That's another one. But let's talk about who the fuck you are, what the fuck you did for Blackheart, what the fuck you do when you're not doing Blackheart, and what you're doing now, because word is you're retired.
I got the roughest gig I've ever had in my life right now. Rougher than any Blackheart gig, rougher than any gig we could talk about. Raising a human being. It's the most. You think mixing a live show or being on live television is stressful? Try making sure another human being survives and doesn't die. All right. And now to top it off, she's a little Joe Muller baby. So what does she want to do? All she wants to do is run around the room and stick everything in her mouth. It's fucking terrifying. It's the hardest gig on the planet. It really is. Stick her hand in it, stick it in her mouth. Like it's a terrifying thing. But what do you want to know?
Well, I think you pretty much summed it up. The biggest gig ever. So basically, Joe, you're on the biggest gig ever.
Yes, the most terrifying gig ever. But no, it was. I know UB from SIR from our days both working at SIR. I was working in the studio, managing the studio, basically getting paid to place and I guess hang out and basically. I mean that's really what I did.
We could say it. We could say it.
I mean,
it's a good gig.
If it's a spade, call it a spade, right? So, I was actually working at 52nd Street SIR, and one day, this crazy, wild-eyed, scientist-looking guy by the name of Billy Crater comes up to me at the front desk, and he says, "Do you know how to set up a drum kit?" I said, "Yeah, I work here, so yeah." "Oh, you want to go on the road?" Yeah, sure. And next thing you know, I'm Tommy Price's drum tech. So And I remember the first couple of gigs just being absolutely terrified. The first gig we did was with the Donnas. If anybody
God, of course.
date myself a little bit,
dude. I have the Donna's Strutter Clear 45 vinyl from Detroit Rock City soundtrack.
Right, like when they were a big deal when they first came out. Like they opened a couple of shows, and I was fucking terrified. I had no idea what I was doing. And story of my career, I failed my way to the top, and eventually said, hey, you guys don't have a monitor engineer. Why don't you let me do monitors? And Kenny Laguna looks at me and says, well, we're not going to pay you to do the monitors, but you could do the monitors. So I said, so I said, all right, well, let's do that. It's fantastic. So, there's a couple of years, I think, at least during the Enzo days, we did a couple of trips to Asia. Just with me doing monitors and doing drums, and not for nothing, Tommy's drum kit takes about a half an hour to deal with. And
what?
No. We'll get to that. If your name's not, it takes about a half an hour to deal with. If you weren't, it takes about a half hour to deal with, and then he could spend the rest of the time doing monitors. And those were some of the best. Those were some of the best gigs. I was looking through some old photos recently, and I found a bunch of pictures from this era. And there's pictures of me and Billy with like famous pigs and stuff like that at all the state fairs.
Wow.
Really good stuff.
This is a fucking laugh fest. That's what this is.
And then like Annie said, referring to me as a mentor, Billy Crater was the best mentor I ever had to my life, to this day in my life. And he taught me everything that I didn't know. I knew a tiny bit. He taught me everything else, and somehow, some way, failed my way to the top. Oh, well, if Billy can't make the gig, Joe will do sound for us. By the way, just want to point out that last Sunday was the anniversary of my Super Bowl ticket getting sold. I think it was about 10 years.
It was actually. Oh man, I have I found my backstage pass from that gig with you.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl. Oh my God, dude! I can't believe that. It's a famous story. You could tell it.
And then, well, we'll get into that. So then Mel died. And since Mel passed away, the guy who owns SIR, he asked me to come back and manage SIR. So I did. So I left, and then I was just kind of the permanent fill-in guy. You need a guitar tech, you need a drum guy, you need a front of house guy, whatever. And then I just continued to fail my way up to the top.
Why do you say that?
Oh, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm one of the dumbest people bro.
No.
And meanwhile, somebody says, "Hey, dude, here's a company that'll compete with the company you've been working for 17 years. I'm going to let you and your drug addict partner run it." And I'm like, "Okay, great." He's like, "We're gonna give you about $80,000 a year." And I said, no, you're gonna give me a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And I threw a number at him, and he said, "Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Let's go and do it." So okay, so that's what I did for the last 3 out of the last 4 years until the Covies happened. Mm-hmm. And once the Covies happened, I just became a dad for a living. Which, by the way, if I didn't mention, is really hard. But I just got like my 1099 from the state and my W-2 from that other company I was working for, and I did pretty good last year for a guy that was sitting on his fat ass the entire year. It's a pretty good deal.
Fucking A, brother. Holy shit. So it's becoming slowly these last couple of gigs, the Billy Crater show, by default, the Crewicide show versus Billy Crater. But yes, that's where Joe fills in. And for many years, you were with Tommy Price until I came along and succeeded you. And that's how I came here. And speaking of mentors, I've always said that you and Billy are definitely the two mentors of my career in this business.
I'm so flattered.
But it's I've been talking about it for a long time. It ain't nothing new. But without Joe Muller And also, I was talking to Kevin Herdman about this. Kevin Herdman, I feel like, I guess he was on my first gig. But
he was. Yeah, he was.
It was Billy, Kevin Herdman, myself, and that was in Mountainside, New Jersey. I always felt that like you looked at me and you saw that this fucking idiot truck driver that, all I wanted to do, you knew all I wanted to do was just go on the road and be that guy. And like, you recognize that, you know what, he's a fucking idiot, but he could do this. And you did that. You took a chance. You threw my name out there. And I've said it to you a million fucking times, man. And without that, I wouldn't have any of this shit on my walls. I wouldn't have the fucking anything without you, man. And your etiquette and technique on how to deal with things and difficult people. And probably, a lot of that comes from hanging out with but how to deal with difficult people. You're gonna have to bleep that name. It shaped how I work, not just with SIR, but every other band and any other company I have to work with. Yeah, I want to thank you.
You're very welcome, brother. It's my pleasure. And like I said, it takes about 30 minutes to set up a drum kit, especially his Tommy Price's drum kit. Hey man, you spent 2-3 hours setting it up. The fact of the matter is,
it's about 5 hours.
Well, that's being so generous. But the fact of the matter is, 95% of the gig is being a decent person to be around. And you were always a good person to be around, man. Everybody loves beef. Everybody loves beef. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. So, like, why wouldn't we want you on the road? Everybody's always thoroughly entertained by you. And especially in the beginning, you were the consummate green guy. So it was like, dude, go get us beers. Dude, go do this, go do that. You were like, fuck you guys, okay?
Yeah, of course, I do my role. All right.
But yeah, man, it's it's the stage side of the stuff. I could teach a monkey how to do that. So could you. You can't teach a monkey how to be entertaining to be around. And there was a special vibe for a while, man. There was a special vibe with you there. There's still a special vibe there, I'm sure, with Annie there.
Oh yeah, she's the only. Her and Billy are the only vibes going, I think. Donnie's new. You know what I mean?
We had this great fucking idea back in the day, and we're such pussies for not following through with it. Crater's Kids.
Oh, that's the best. I was going to mention that tonight.
All right, so you remember Crater's Kids. Let's everybody write a story.
That's a t-shirt, Annie.
Just write a story and email it to craterskids@yahoo.com and just send your story and then just write a story. You got 20 stories? Write 20 fucking stories. Send them one at a time. Send them to the email and we'll just have an archive of all of these fucking amazing touring stories. Well, guess what? I forgot the password. Like about a decade ago, I forgot the password.
Wow.
That's some
remember
Bitcoin shit.
I don't think I ever wrote a story, though, but I remember telling me about it, and then you're like, yeah, we're starting this Crater's Kids thing. And I'm like, cool.
I'm telling you, there's a bunch of stories sitting in a Yahoo account somewhere.
Oh man, we're gonna great. So basically, what we're gonna have to do now is resurrect the Crater's Kids Project Crater Kids.
We can make a Gmail account because that'd be better.
Yeah, it's better to start it now, man. I feel like so much gold is lost because it was one of those things where it was like, yeah, okay, shit. We're in the 15 pass on the way to the airport after like a week, right? And you're just like, dude, we're never gonna fucking remember any of this, dude. We really got to write this shit down. Like, and you. Shit, I don't remember any of this shit.
It's amazing that ask anybody, any person, that's a fan or whatever that's been around us with the Joan crew. Just ask, oh, you got an Annie story? Boom. You know what I mean? You got a beef story, and we could have a coffee table book out of all the stories from the crew, just from people meeting us.
Oh man.
We're gonna have to resurrect Project Crater's Kids.
Project Crater's Kids.
So I don't know if I should go on record with this, but I'll go on record with it.
If we could always edit it out.
All right. Well, I'll leave it at your discretion.
Okay.
Well, I'll want it in.
For the first time in 30 years, I'm sober. So I mean, I'm making a conscious decision here.
Okay. Should I not be smoking?
No, you could do whatever you want, dude. So I forgot it was the Super Bowl was in Detroit. That's all I remember specifically.
God. Super Bowl 40 XXL. What is it? XXL?
I don't even know. I look on my ticket, but my ticket's gone.
That's the end of the story.
That's the end of the story. I'm not even going to go there. I shouldn't go there.
No, we're going there. Just take it. So, yeah, Super Bowl 40.
Apparently, I had a ticket to the Super Bowl, and next thing you know, after the gig, I was told that we were getting on the airplane to go home, and I wasn't going to the game, and I was very upset about this. Very upset. I haven't stopped bitching about it for over a decade. My wife will listen to this podcast and shake her head and be like, "Yeah, he doesn't shut the fuck up about this." Well, every time the Super Bowl comes on, I'm just like, "Oh yeah, I was going to the Super Bowl once."
Let's get down to the gig specifics about this gig, because I do remember it extremely well. I do remember Rachel, the stage girl.
Oh wow, the memory on you.
Listen, and her father was the union guy. The big guy with the cigar.
And this was early beef too.
Oh, early. This was I said, it was early. But let's get into the gig specifics. So this gig, and Annie, I really praise you tonight, because between Joe and I, we don't shut up.
It's right. I love this. So I love these stories.
Okay, cool.
I feel like,
and I don't think I've gotten the full story. I've heard this legend.
I feel like it might have been me, you, and Billy might have been the crew. I think I was doing Joan's guitar.
There's several major, and you know what? Me and Annie have been talking about this for a while. There are some pictures that have to go up, and this is going to probably be the first podcast where you're going to have to edit a picture in. Because
no problem.
This picture will tell you everything when I get to it. So the gig was Joan. Joan was doing a pre-Super Bowl party. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Before she did it with Miley Cyrus, she did it in Detroit with the Four Tops.
Yes.
Why do you build me up, buttercup baby? Those guys.
That was your 70s, right? Or was that your 60s?
That was your 60s.
Okay.
Then Joan was booked
as the 70s, which made no sense.
Which made no sense. So it was a 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s night, because we were in the 2000s, and that was the new Super Bowl era. So they were trying to do it. So they had the Four Tops as the 60s. Joan, which was misbooked, or I guess we call it misbooked, but she was booked as the 70s act because somebody was like, "Oh, Joan Jett and Arano." But it's really Joan Jett and the Blackhearts was like the 80s thing for Joan. So she was booked as the 70s act. The Bangles, Susanna Hoffs.
Yep.
Susanna Hoffs, and the Bangles were booked as the 80s act, and Smash Mouth, the world famous Smash Mouth, who, by the way, were awesome people.
The world famous Smash Mouth. The bands you just mentioned, and then Smash Mouth's the world famous one.
Wow.
Yep. They closed too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. It was at the Fox Theater. So this was a pre-Super Bowl party.
You nailed all of those facts.
That's right. And it was right next to, it might have been the Fox or the State. State and the Fox are right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right down there.
It was the Fox Theater.
It was the Fox right across from Hockey Town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which we went to later on that evening. But that was, anyways. So this was a Super Bowl party, and Joan played. It was awesome. We got to see everybody. Susanna Hoffs, which one was my favorite acts of the 80s. I love that fucking Manic Monday, and Walk Like an Egyptian is like top in my head of 80s songs. Anyways, we have a great night, but lo and behold, what happens? We get invited to an after party. So much shit happened this night.
Is that the hockey place was where the after party was?
No. We went to,
it was some abandoned hangar.
That's right. But what kind of party was it?
Oh, we were told we were just going to an after party is what we were told.
So we get there, and it is...
Hold on. We're going to an after party. It's the Super Bowl.
At a hangar.
And so what do? I put on my nicest football jersey and a trench coat. And we walk into a Playboy party.
The Playboy party for football, yeah.
Oh, my God.
This is great. So Joan Joan sends Billy, Joey, and myself ahead of time. Do you remember this, Joe?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She sends us ahead of time.
To go scout it out.
Yes, to go scout out. So we get there, and we're like, we get there early. We scout it out. We're like, yeah, it's the Playboy party, Everything's interesting to Billy,
Right.
And so we're there, and Joe at the time smoked cigarettes, and so let me give you an idea of how I see Joe. I'm sorry if I'm getting into this.
No.
Joe has his hat on. He's got the Roethlisberger. Was it Roethlisberger?
No, I think it was a Curtis Martin Jets jersey.
Jets, that's what it was, a Jets jersey on, because everyone hates the Jets.
Uh-huh.
He's got a Jets jersey on, so he's basically looks like Silent Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Meets sound tech extraordinaire, and he's chain smoking out there with Billy, like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? So I said, all right, I gotta go in there and check it out and figure it out. So I go into the tent, and Joe's got his fucking, him and Billy are they're just doing the Billy and Joe thing. You got to be with them. You got to be with them. They're just so good. And I go in there, and she's like, name? And I'm like, yeah, I'm Beef. I'm with Joe and Jet and the Blackhearts. We were told to come here and make sure everything was all right. You know what I mean? I was just trying to And she's like, yeah, Joan is scheduled to be on our list +2. And Joan was not coming +2. Remember, she had like 10 people with her.
Oh yeah, dude, we had a short bus full of people.
Yes,
it was literally a short bus, like a small school bus.
It was
all of us drunk assholes just ready to go.
Yeah, and they'd come, and finally the band, whoever came with her, and her guests, and Kenny, and the entourage. And at first they didn't believe me. They were like, well, it's only 2. And I was like, sweetheart, she's coming with like 12 people all together, band and crew. She's like, well, there's only 3 spots. I was like, okay. So I went back out. I was like, all right, Joe's doing his thing. Billy's doing his thing, and Joan and Kenny come, and, now it's understood. Oh, we're coming in with 12 people. And we followed line, and we went into the Playboy party, and there was girls and booze. Remember, we went to the bar. Hey, remember we go to the bar?
And not only did they let us in.
Oh God!
They let us into the VIP section and just sat us up there all night, which was just ridiculous. And there's me seeing all of these famous athletes, and I'm all excited talking to all these dudes.
Dude, wasn't Roethlisberger there? And wasn't he playing the next night?
He was playing the next night, and he made an appearance there.
Uh-huh.
I didn't talk to him, but he was definitely there.
I remember him.
But everybody's just like, dude, why are you all excited? I'm like, we're at the fucking Super Bowl. You guys are such a bunch of dicks. Like, you don't even give a shit that you're actually here. And we're going to the game tomorrow. It's gonna be fucking awesome.
It was implied that we were going to the game, ladies and gentlemen.
It was implied.
We were not indirectly told that we were going to the game to be ready to be going home. We were told we were going home on Monday. Remember?
I was told you'll be home on Monday. I never saw a ticket, but let me tell you something.
That means something.
In my story, there was a ticket, and it disappeared. Because the next, I don't know if it was that night or I think it was in like the hotel lobby after we got back from the party. And it was, okay, lobby call, 9 a.m. Like, we need lobby call, bro. Lobby call. Why? Because we're going to start pre-gaming before the Super Bowl that early? Like, why is there lobby call? No, you're going home. And a lot of things happened in my head in between those 2 points in time.
You know the emoji with the head exploding that's on the iPhone now? That was actually the guy from Silicon Valley that programmed that, was at the Super Bowl that year, and he was in the lobby when we were told that happened. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's real. But yeah, that's how that became.
So I won't go into any more specifics than that. That was one of the funnest nights ever. That night, for so many reasons.
I don't think we could go into one of them because I think maybe that some people might actually end up watching this show, but we know why. We know why that night was super fun.
Yeah.
Fuck! I just burned my.
And that is why beef was a blast to be on the road with.
That's literally why we don't have nice things.
Sorry.
Sorry.
That's also why you rent the 15 pass.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I got a good one that I was actually just reminded of, and we were recanting the time, and hopefully one of you two can help with the specifics on this.
Okay, all right.
It was at the Gaylord Hotel
Oh.
in Maryland, I want to say.
Yes, and her name was Freddie.
Me and Zach had to take a box truck.
I remember.
Okay.
The Gaylord. It was the Gaylord.
The Gaylord. So I was like, I'm like, how are we supposed to go on a box truck? Because it was supposed to be me, Beef, and Zach. And Puss was going with, I don't know, Joan and Kenny. I don't know how she was getting there, or maybe with Ed.
Maybe. I think I drove separate.
Maybe you drove. And it was, well, you guys are going to take the truck. And I'm like, how the fuck are the three of us going to go? There's only 2 seats in a rental truck. Oh, well, Beef will sit on the Billy box. Like
the Billy box.
Oh, we're gonna sit on it. Now this is where I thought it was really fucking funny, because started laughing about the Billy box. What? And I said, absolutely fucking not. I am not fucking going. I will not fucking go with Beef sitting on the Billy box. This is fucking irresponsible. It's not fucking safe. And you know what? I'm not fucking doing it. Very, very similar to all the temper tantrums I used to throw to get whole rows of seats on airplanes. So I don't know. What we were trying to figure out was how the fuck did Beef get to the gig? Because you didn't come with us, because Zach and I got into a monster fight in the truck on the way there.
You guys fought all the time.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think I
feel like this was the GNC gig.
Yes.
Out in the parking lot.
Yeah, I believe.
Like on the lawn of the Gaylord.
This was Fader 24. That was that gig.
Did I come in and set up the gig beforehand on this gig? Was that?
Did you take the train?
And I took a bus back.
You might have taken the train. Well, this is the mystery: is how the fuck did you get out there?
The deal is we were all there, but at separate times, not all together.
Did you come with me?
I did come with you.
You might have driven down with me.
I might have driven down with you, and then I took a bus back home.
Something like that.
Because I had to work, do a gig, and I had to close the shop at 12 a.m. that night.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I remember that situation.
It was so insane.
And that was one of those private parties, which also I remember that show. The lighting guy there.
Keep going.
It was a park can rig, and they had nothing patched correctly. We focused everything, and then right when they went to turn everything on, everything's like blue, red, yellow, and like everything was all over the place. So they ended up right before the show having to drop the whole thing down, and they changed the gels to where the lights went on the fader, because there was literally nothing else we could do before the doors open. And this was like a major private party, and they were like, you guys have to get this up and going. So it was just like skittle, like it was like horrible. So, but that's what I remember also about that show.
I don't remember this one. I think that I might have. This is a mystery.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
And if it's any consolation, I got them back because I, took Fader 24 off of their console. So
that was something I remember.
And that I think we left after the gig. I think we did because
Maryland, absolutely.
I remember Zachariah wearing that Ghostbusters T-shirt.
Yeah, wait a minute, it's starting to come back to me.
And we walked into the lobby of the place, and it was like fucking 2:00 in the morning, and we're going to return our room key, and he just screams at the top of his lungs, "Has anybody seen a ghost?" And like scared the shit out of the chick behind the counter. it was priceless. It was one of those you had to be there moments. But
I love those old times. Those are great times, man. I really think that I came in for that, did some type of job, and I left, and we were all there at separate times. It had to have been.
Yeah, and it was definitely a one-off. We went there, we came back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fun.
And I think the year after we went back to that same hotel and they had moved the gig inside, and you were there. I don't know if you were just there for maybe like a gear drop off, but you were just there for like.
You're absolutely right. I didn't do the gig, but I don't know what I was there for. I brought something there, or maybe I set it up. I don't remember exactly.
Because there's definitely been a few gigs where you were like, we were in some other state and had to fly early from another gig, so you would go to the second gig.
Well, Beef was meant. Beef brought up one of these.
I got a good one. This is a perfect scenario to talk about why the state of Florida sucks. And you can bleep out Florida. I don't give a shit.
No, don't beep it out.
But
it sucks.
Okay, the state of Florida. The people are awesome. I love the Floridian people. Let's put it that way. They put the gig. Let's set it. And Annie, you will remember this. Florida. We were coming in from another gig, and Joe had to be flown in to set the gig up, or Joe was in Florida already, had a trip already planned to Florida, and they paid his way there, and that was his deal. However he got there, but he was to go in and set the gig up just like the prior scenario, but he couldn't stay. This was the gig with
Oh, this was a bad one.
This was a bad one. And this was the gig where the promoter sold all access passes at $400 or $500
to fans.
And that was a mess. And I remember you and me going in there and Joe going like this. Yeah, Bubs, you guys can have fun with this one. You guys can have fun with this one.
That was a bad gig.
That was.
You gave us the lowdown. And you got the fuck out of here. What happened next? And Annie, you remember what happened next.
On that gig too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a whole nother fucking story. I forgot.
This was the same gig. I mean, we can't put that in there, but that was the night that but also at this gig, because they sold tickets to fans to come backstage at the end of the gig, they couldn't get Joan out of the RV because there was literally over 50 people swarming her RV. And then there was an SUV right next to it. And security did absolutely nothing.
It was
absolutely nothing. And they're like, we need to get out. So then I just started shuffling. I was like, everyone needs to go. Let's go. Everybody out. Blah, blah, blah. Like, the car's moving. You got to go. And I was like, yeah. And then finally security followed me with pushing people out of the way. We got Joan in the car and, got them out.
I remember, though, that RV setup like it was yesterday. Like, this happened yesterday.
Yeah. So, also, remember, prior to the end of it, Annie, remember going in there and me and you were... Either you were in the car ahead of me or the car with me, and we were in the crew van, and you went like this. I know that woman. We get there, Joan and Kenny get there. You were like, oh my God. You had to clear away. I remember you had to clear away for them to get in because people were also fucking weird. The backline was not correct.
Oh no, that was all. That was what I specifically remember. Was everything was fucking wrong.
It was not correct at all, especially the drums. It was like it was not good. And then
that was a rough gig.
Yeah,
rough is not even the word. And then he done his set. I'm up there doing the beef thing with the crew, Billy, and I start walking down the ramp with Zach. Zach was there and Billy. That was the crew at the time. And Annie, and I realized that was sitting in his SUV, and he was right up to the trailer that was closest to the stage. And I was like, all right. So I came back a couple of times, and over the third or fourth time, I was like, what the fuck is going on? He's eating in this thing now. And I'm like, there's his dressing room. His wife's in there. People were in there in the fucking tent. And eventually I start giving him the nod because I had to go right next to the trailer to go get Joan. So the story is he knew that it was going to be a shit show and he wanted cash. and he parked his goddamn SUV in front of the fucking promoter's trailer.
Wow.
And did not leave until the promoter gave him cash. And remember the promoter also booked, which will come into play later on at the hotel.
Yes.
There was also another nightmare gig that I just got reminded of with you, Muller.
What's that?
I think it was
Oh, dude.
I don't think I was there for that one.
They were great. They were great.
Yeah, well, there was a wager. There was a bet lost on my part.
There was a bet lost on your turn, but they were really cool. But it was like the gig that had issues or whatever. But I think we had to go so early in the morning to set up, and then we had like hours at the gig. And I think you and Zach bought a wiffle ball set.
Oh, absolutely!
And we played a whole game.
There's three things I remember from that day. Was me losing a bet. Over the band, was us playing wiffle ball and being bored out of my fucking mind. And I think that the weather really sucked too.
Yeah.
I think the weather might have been on and off.
Also, we can't.
I forgot about that.
The reactions are priceless to that. I never heard this one.
Wow. You know, you talk about bringing back memories, man. That I was looking for something and I was searching my email and I tripped over that Billy Crater recording, and it just brought me back to such a happy place, man. If there was ever a good time in this world, it was hanging out in the hotel room after the gig with Billy, and most of the time it was, and then insert characters that were attached to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You, Kevin Herdman, was just, oh my God, dude, some of that Billy shit is just fucking classic. Just fucking classic.
I mean, we have a couple of merchandise ideas. By the time this airs, you know, maybe some people might have already been launched, but we have some ideas. And I was thinking about, you know, Crater's Kids obviously is a new one, but knock knock.
Oh,
a knock knock shirt, you know,
with a picture of him
like this.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Just a knock. I mean, speaking of found footage, which we're gonna put in the cleanest footage we can of that audio, and also doing this, we're going to be doing one with him next week.
There's no such thing as a clean version of that song. Number one.
You know, I found footage of Annie, myself, and Billy at in Canada, that's a whole nother story. Which, you know, and he's some of the classic Billy Crater songs. The Billy Crater sings all the greatest hits. You know, the hits of Crater. They just
what is the artist? Who is the
John
comedian?
Balby.
Okay,
John
yeah.
Balby.
So I think it was in St. Louis. I played an open mic. I think we were on the Boston tour. So a bunch of the Boston crew came out, and then I was playing an open mic, and Billy came, and I put him on the list to go on before me.
Oh boy! What did he do? Leprosy?
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
And the bar was exploded. They loved it. It was great.
Because he's the greatest showman ever to live.
He really is.
This is like when people ask me, "Oh, Beef, you know, you're such a character." I go, "It's half my father and half Billy Crater." He taught me whatever I didn't learn from my old man, or whatever I couldn't pick up from him that I couldn't hone on. I honed off Billy. I don't know. I don't know who was there. And I don't think either of you were there. Beef might have been there. We was in Boise, Idaho, and the gig got rained out. It was a car show, and it was pouring rain. And we managed to line check, and then they called the entire gig. And Billy proceeded to spend about a half an hour downstage while everyone was packing everything up, just doing his Billy stand-up routine. I believe I was there. That was early on, right? Yeah, there was maybe like 50, 75 people there that were just pissing themselves, chanting more by the time he was done. I was there. I remember that. I absolutely remember that. Another thing that Billy would do that ended up, you know, Annie's seen this. We'd go out just before the show started to do the quick line check in between bands, and Billy would go, you know, and then on a tour, you know, he'd be like, you know, he'd look at the crowd and be like, You know, the Billy.
I remember, he did that once in South America when we were out there with the Foo Fighters. He was going like, "Hey, 1, 2," and they're all going, "Hey, 1, 2." And he's just checking the mic, like, "Check 1, 2." And they're all like, "Hey, 1, 2."
You know, we went like this, "Hey, 1, 2," and they said, "Hey, 1, 2," and he went,
"Yep." Yeah, he loved it.
If you could do me a favor, if you could ask Billy if he remembers the time that
"Hey, Billy, you remember the time?"
Hey, Billy, you remember the time that he told the lady at the airport that she should have her removed? If you could ask him if he remembers that. Because he was escorted out of the airport after that. I know that much.
I wasn't the time he was escorted out for me, but that's definitely one that I know of. Oh, we're gonna bring those. Oh my God. Oh,
that's top 5.
That's classic.
Top 5 Billy stuff right there.
Yeah.
Annie, the question is actually right now: was Billy escorted? Has Billy been escorted out with each of us? Have you witnessed Billy get escorted out, Annie?
I've seen Billy get in trouble on the planes, but I've not seen him get escorted off the plane.
In trouble?
He's gotten scolded on the plane, but not escorted off.
My favorite is when he puts gaff tape on the speaker above him, and then just starts screaming at it and pointing at it, going, "Why?
And punching it.
Why? It's at one frequency."
You're doing this. And then going. I remember seeing that for the first. Oh, I love you, Billy. We love you.
Oh, I love him so much.
We love him so much. I remember seeing that for the first time, going like this because I sat behind him and I was like, "Oh man, I get to sit next to Billy," you know, because it was Dallas or something. It was my first gig on the road, and I was like Dallas, and I wondered why nobody sat next to each other, which is a whole nother thing. And I was like, "Oh, when we get on the plane, nobody sits next to each other."
Yeah. He would go up to people and say, "These people don't like each other. We got to sit." Well, it's also because everyone wants to sit where they want. Some people are window people, some people are aisle people, and they want to.
No, but you nailed it on the head. These people don't like each other.
So Billy, my first gig, and I was like, "Why?" Number one, I didn't understand why he would say that because he did say that when Billy was the airplane guy, and then I noticed him doing the tape thing, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was gonna get thrown off the plane the first time I ever flew with him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "This is post 9/11. It happened 3 years ago."
That was one of the first things that him and the guitar tech at the time taught me was how to put gaff tape on the inside of your pants so when you get on the plane you can tape over that speaker.
Well, I did learn a lot from Billy about like speaking with airport representatives and how to check 20 pieces of gear on a plane with 10 people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's an art. Yeah, there's an art to that.
Oh yeah.
You know? Oh, there is.
There really is.
He's the master of it when he's not Hurricane Crater.
Yeah.
You know? When he's not on 10, not level 5.
Isn't it amazing that the guy that could get 20 pieces onto an airplane under 10 people's names or under 4 people's names is the same guy that can get thrown off of an airplane because they're announcing the boarding doors closed.
Yeah.
I have seen Billy do the safety demonstration.
Oh yeah.
That's great.
That's a classic. He does the whole bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen him mouth it too.
I mean, tell me you don't know how the man feels though. I mean, if you never went to another airport again, would it be too soon? It would be too soon if you never went to another airport ever again. I'm done. I don't ever need to go to an airport ever again. I had a lifetime worth of airport experiences.
I do have a lifetime of those.
I have had 2. I mean, I've had 2. Also, people don't realize my dad worked in the airline industry prior to my touring. So when I was 12, I was flying
at LaGuardia, right?
Yeah, he was king of LaGuardia. He was mayor of LaGuardia.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor of LaGuardia. Like I was mayor of Snitchville. But that's another podcast.
That's a whole different podcast.
That's a whole other podcast. But I was very accustomed, which this goes into the whole touring lifestyle thing. We fly nonstop. I was very accustomed to flying and waiting because we were flying non-rev, which is standby. So I would have to wait long times. I'd have to be bumped. I would do this and that. From the time I was 12 till the time I was 21, I was able to fly for free and quite frequently. So I was used to it. And then I'd said, when my dad said, oh, you're done. You can't fly anymore. You're too old. I was like, I could live with that. I'll fly whenever I want now on my own. And within 2 years, it was nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 lifetimes for me, but
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
flying.
Well, yeah, when
plane.
I was telling you this, I think on another episode, that my first 4 to 5 years with the Blackers was all flying, and I only saw a bus maybe for 3 to 5 nights within that time. So it was a lot of airports.
And you only saw the Delta Lounge a few times also.
I never got the Delta Lounge.
That's what
I never got to Mosaic. I never got to Gold, even though I could have. I kept using them because I would fly.
I'm still Mosaic. They're keeping me on the past 2 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We like to have our theories and predictions on
Okay.
here of where you think the entertainment industry is going, and what's your theory?
I'll tell you what my theory is. My theory is we're never, ever going back to where we were.
That's actually a very good assessment.
Things are going to get back to normal. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but it's not going to be like it was. I think things are going to morph and change, and what used to be a crew of 8 people is now going to be a crew of 5 or 6 people. I think a lot of inexperienced people that are willing to work for less money are going to take on the production manager, lighting guy / merch guy okay, so they're going to take on Annie's role, but for half the money, and they're going to be 10 years younger than you were.
And greener than I ever could have been.
Oh, greener than the day is long. And shit is just going to be, it's just going to be different. It's just going to be different. I think it's going to be at least another year till things get back to normal. Till there's actually shows for people to go to. But you're going to have to show your COVID vaccine pass to get in, on your phone or some bullshit like that. And
100%.
I mean, hey, look, I was working for Centerstaging in New York, and we were doing really fucking good, and it's gone now. People aren't renting gear. SIR Studios on 25th Street doesn't exist anymore. There's Backline companies in New York half of them are gone because of the shit that's gone on.
Best is gone.
Yeah, Best is gone. I didn't even know that. So that makes total sense, right? So, you have half as many Backline companies in New York all of a sudden. And why would, this is a bad example, but I'll use it as an example. Why would the Today Show book 5 bands a week and bring them into the studio and pay for the Backline and pay for the audio guys and pay for the lighting guy and pay for all the extra Local 1 crew to come in, when they could live stream the band 2 or 3 days a week from wherever the fuck they are? This whole, Zoom podcast, not podcast, but Zoom web chat, streaming everything. It's what the future is. So it's going to take a toll on people like us. So, I'm going to find a partner and open up a daycare in my basement. That's what I'm going to do. I mean, you guys can figure out what you're going to do, but I'm gonna be the fat white Eddie Murphy in Daddy Daycare. That's what I'm going to do.
Wow. Actually, you Annie, you always slip it in at the right moment.
That's how I do.
I think you really hit it on the point, Joe. I love the theories, Annie. That's my thing of what it's going to be like and where it's going to be. But man, you just really, I didn't even fucking think about that. People that are inexperienced, willing to go on the road and break in, which I'm all for. But half of the people that really want to do it and are capable of doing it aren't going to be as smart as the other half that are doing it. So I never even thought of it like that. And for peanuts, they're going to be doing it.
And that's the thing. The budget's not going to be the same as it used to be.
No.
The guarantees aren't the same. They already announced like a few months ago, I think it was Live Nation, I'm not sure, that bands, they're not paying for the band's travel anymore. They're not paying for the hotels. Like, you're just going to get some sort of bullshit guarantee to play the show. So let's say you're an artist and your guarantee is $50,000 for the gig. Well, usually it's the $50,000 plus the hotel, plus the flights, plus yada, 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 plus the hospitality. No. It's $50,000. You do whatever the fuck you want. You make it happen. You guys show the fuck up here. You need gear, you rent the fucking gear.
It's going to be like the...
so how are you going to pay anybody?
The old club days.
That's exactly what it's going to be like.
Here's your money. That's it.
Exactly.
No
exactly.
Pizza? You want pizza? Fuck you.
And listen, I get it. From a business standpoint, I get it. Everybody's got to make their money.
Right.
I mean, there might be one or two exceptions with top artists. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, as part of the contract, whatever. But you're hitting it right on the head, man. I love this because you are a seasoned industry. Now, again, for those, and the show has nothing to do with the other company I work for, so that's why we can talk about it. So what SIR and Centerstaging do is they are backline companies that provide backline. So let's say Motley Crue was going on tour, right? And there was an opening act, right? And the opening act was just on that day. They'd hire out the thing so they don't have to bring it. We do that. But my point is, Joe has been with these companies, 20 years? You've been in the
20.
industry.
Yep.
This year, almost 20 years, right?
That'd be 20 years this year.
So to have some insight from a guy that's worked for the two major companies out of LA and New York, which are synonymous with the industry, to have his views and opinions, it's really valuable. So those who are listening really are getting a treat, as I kiss your ass a little more. but I mean it. I just
like what I'm referred to as a treat.
No, It's true though, but it's valuable insight because even though you're retired and you're not really doing it right now, I know there's always going to be room when the phone calls. There's always going to be room to go back again.
Like you said when you came on all fired up, dude. If the phone rang, I might answer it.
Yeah,
I might answer it.
Oh, speaking of which, check out All Fired Up. Joe Muller, Emmy award-winning producer Joe Muller.
There you go.
Podcast.
My agent who was busting your chops earlier on Instagram might be very upset if I didn't at least mention All Fired Up a few times.
Make sure you check out the links will be in the description for your podcast.
I don't know which way it is.
Yeah, I love that you're pointing at him.
Pointing down there.
You do other things, and he is the king of fantasy sports, our champion many times over, ladies and gentlemen.
Many times over.
Not more than 15, 18, 16, 20. He's got more than that. And I couldn't even tell you how many times he has championship for sports, but he also is the king of, I think capping. You know a little bit about that, too.
A little bit about capping, he says.
I wanted to be as professional as possible.
Can we say capping?
Yeah. So he knows a lot about sports betting, fantasy, and anything that has to do with sports. And I mean that's why he's in a podcast that's all about sport.
Oh, we invented the podcast about 9 years ago. That's just for the record. We might have accidentally invented the vlog, but never got credit for it.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Oh, definitely did, bro.
And Ethan and Ethan would ask me, he'd be like, dude, I don't understand. Like we record this stuff, and then you're just totally shit faced. And then I leave, and next thing you know, the next morning, you send me the entire episode and email me the entire episode, edited with bumpers and different clips and all this stuff in it. And it's just yeah, dude.
I mean, at the time it was a good idea.
At the time, it was a great idea. But all good things come to an end. Eventually, at some point in your life, you have to be an adult, which isn't as much fun. But it's all right. Yeah. Got to do it every once in a while. You got to get to that point, and you just kind of have been there, done that. Yeah. But at the same time, if the phone rang, I'd probably answer it.
I know. There you go. There's always that, because that's the type of people we are.
I'm going to leave the door open. It would have to be the right person on the other end of the phone. But you guys know who that person would be, and
of course,
I'd answer it. I just,
I think that's the case with all of the former people close to the circle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're always, unless your name, I don't even want to say it, but unless your name is a couple of people, there's very few that have burned bridges. But there's other things going on, which I'm not going to count all my eggs in the one basket. That's all.
That's another good thing.
That's a great thing for these days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to make a comeback, which I'll be teasing throughout these few podcasts. And then, oh man,
just ask him to make you banana bread.
Banana bread.
Okay.
Do that. I remember Annie being like, I remember Annie saying, because I know she's not into it, so I don't bring her up. But like, I remember her saying, "Yeah, I did it once. It's my thing.
Not my thing."
I'm my worst Annie. That's not an Annie impersonation.
Will you sit in your hotel room and stare at the wall, just wanting it to end for enough hours?
It wasn't fun.
Wasn't good.
It's not fun.
No.
It's not like me telling Beef, you got to drive me to the dinosaurs, and I got a big smile on my face. It's not a fun night like that. It's
what
not
dinosaurs? Is that in California?
California and
Pee-wees.
Pee-wees.
Here we go. Let me spin the yarn as I get me blunt rolling here. Old fisherman Beef telling the story.
What part of California is that?
I'll tell you where it is. It's John Wayne Airport, the Morongo, right next to the Morongo Hotel in beautiful Palm Springs.
Yes.
Just outside. My memory, like you're like, oh, remember that gig we did together, Beef, where none of us were there, where you came set up? No. But where the fuck was and then all of a sudden, let's set it. And then I believe this goes back to you. The last time I was on tour, remember when we were at the Key Club in LA with Skip?
The fuck is Skip?
We saw Chad Skip. Skip was the Key Club manager. And this goes to our dear departed friend, Jeff Shaw. He and Shaw were original buddies together on the road in the early 80s. That's how I started my conversation with Skip. So I met Skip with Joe Muller years ago at the Morongo Hotel on a couple of one-offs with Joan. And the gig was in this fucking super hotel. And
I was going to say that gig because, yes, he was. Speaking of drugs.
He was. Long story short, a lot of fun was had. Joe was up all night, and he says, "Yo, bro, you're gonna have to drive me to the fucking airport, bro." I was like, "But I don't drive, really."
That's exactly how it happened.
He's like, "No, it's happening." He's like, "Yeah, give yourself a couple hours, like 6 a.m. We're out of here, 7 a.m. latest." I was like, okay, we had that minivan, and I have a picture of that. I have a picture of that. There's a couple that we took, but we saw the dinosaurs. And
we saw the dinosaurs.
Just like, we're stopping, bro. Go to the dinosaurs. And it was like 7:30.
Dude, we might miss your flight. No. We're fucking stopping. No.
We got enough time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that was just fucking hilarious. But Skip comes into play years later. Me and Billy, and that was the night that we saw Chad Smith and a bunch of children playing at the LA at the Roxy. No, at the Key Club at the Roxy. And God, Annie, you were there. You didn't come out. We were staying on San Vicente behind the Viper Room.
Okay, I remember that.
Okay,
yes.
So you didn't come out, and me and Billy decided to go to the Viper Room. Years earlier, we met Skip with Joe Muller, and he's like, "If you guys are ever in, LA, you just come and see me." And any friend of Jeff Shaw's is a friend of mine. God rest his soul, Jeff Shaw. And I went there with Billy, and I asked for Skip, and lo and behold, he was there that night, and he just like took care of us and got us pissed drunk. And we hung out all night at the Key Club backstage in the backyard with whoever was playing. And it was just a hell of a fucking night. And that's the Skip story.
Nice.
Skip.
Beef, before I got on the road, you really wanted radios. And ever since I've been on the road, we've had radios. And I know with Joe Muller once, we had like a caravan of like 2 minivans once or something that we were driving a few gigs.
There was 3 vehicles.
3 vehicles.
Yes, there was.
There was 3.
And we all took our radios in each car to.
Because I was like, we need communication.
Yes, because, we had cell phones, but let's have radios.
Because it was way more fun.
And what was it?
We were like BF1 to BF2.
And Brandon.
Brandon was driving.
Brandon was in the car with me.
Yeah.
What was that?
Where the fuck was it? And where?
It was in California. It was like two like Murphy's, California. I feel like was one. I don't know what the other one was.
I remember this.
Was that when we ziplined?
No.
Maybe.
We might have ziplined. Zipline!
Shaka bra! I have those videos.
Nice. Please send me those.
I will.
I wasn't there for the zip line.
That was Del
remember the caravan.
Del Mar.
Del Mar. Does anybody have a 20? Does anybody have a 20 on?
Caravan of minivans with radios, and I think we were following Muller. And you took like a sharp turn somewhere, and we were all even though we all had GPSs, we all like knew where we were going. We just, and you took a hard turn. And I remember Brandon going, BF3, my radio's off the dashboard or something, or my GPS went flying.
Oh, wow. That was probably one of the hardest I've ever laughed with him.
Oh, man, that's funny. I remember that.
That was such a good little run. That run.
Caravan,
yeah.
Well, Joe, you were not there with the incident with? Were you?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, I want to hear because
you'll have to bleep out all the.
Yeah, I already bleeped it in the last episode.
Oh, and Joe. Okay. Oh yeah, duh. This is going to be called the Fly-In Show.
For a fucking burnout, you have an amazing memory.
While I'm smoking.
Yeah.
So, yes, I do. And we go there, and Billy was flying in from somewhere because he had to do TSO because it was it was December 29th.
Yes, it was the last TSO gig.
Yeah, it was December 31st. That was our next gig. He flew right in. So we get there, and it never rains. Remember this?
Mm.
And they fucking play that song. It's always sunny in California, and then it starts pouring.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to take it from you remember?
I just remember somebody took a swing at, and next thing you know, it was just a brawl.
Yes, sort of. Okay, yes, almost. Yes and no. Yes and no. It looked like a brawl, but what you were seeing was
emphasis on seeing, because I was not involved in the brawl.
Were you doing guitars that night?
No, Aaron was doing guitars. I think I was doing monitors. I think I was behind the desk.
You were, because you were doing this and you're looking up, seeing, whoa.
I looked up and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
So Aaron Havel, we're going to get him on the show. Fucking Mike Patton's guy, MGMT, Brandon Flowers. I mean, the list goes on and on. The Killers. He's very, very well-respected tech and very close personal friend of both Joe and I. On many levels, like the first guy I ever met at SIR. Long story short, he was doing guitars. I was doing the drums. Joe's on stage. Billy's out front. And what happened was played the goddamn show, and then they stuck around and watched Joan's show, which is not uncommon for other bands to be on stage. If they, if they're supposed to be there, we're very cool with it, as you know, Annie and Joe. That happens all the time. What wasn't cool was singer's girlfriend was like really like getting close, this and that. And at one point she goes up and hugs Joan while she's on stage. I run over. I think Aaron might tell a different story because he was right there. I just remember running over there to try and shoo him off. And she's getting carried off. And as she's getting carried off, that led to an after getting in a stance, remember? And that's when we congregated after the gig, and they said, that's hella rude. I'll never hella rude. And Billy was like, what's going on? We were just trying to get beers after the show.
Right.
And Joe, me, Aaron, and pulled up, and they were coming at us, and it got diffused. Do you remember that? It was about to be like.
Oh, it definitely got diffused, but it definitely was like one dumb thing away from being super dumb.
Whatever. Anyways, that was a great game. That was great.
Well, I think we've all had those stories where we've definitely all gone up to bat for the bosses at some point, and you know.
There's so
you gotta
many.
do it.
There's so many of them. We could go on and on about this. The truth is, though, that like, you're one of the best sound guys, and also he produces records. He used to produce records.
I got a couple under my belt.
You got a couple gold records on the wall, and but we're talking to like just a great fucking road. I also think that you said to me. You were one of the guys, if you didn't say it, Billy said it, and you reiterated to me. And Annie, I'm sure you can vouch for this. Anybody can be a tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in order to click the way you do with everyone in this crew, you got to have a certain vibe. And you got to be able to have the hang.
Oh,
and
you have to.
One of you're looking at one of the all-time greatest hangs in the world. Whoever's listening and watching, because it's a good hang with you, Joe, and a good fucking awesome hang with you, Joe, and an awesome, great fucking hang with you, Annie.
Yes.
That's best friend 2, best friend 3 right there.
Yep. Hash browns. I think. Wait, I was trying to remember what that was from, but I think I brought you and Zach were at the Jamaica Inn.
Oh,
and we were going to the airport, and you love your coffee and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I got everyone hash browns too.
Dude, do you remember the fucking Jamaica Inn?
I know where it is. It's by JFK.
I don't think I've actually ever stayed there, but I've gone to like meet the crew
fucking shithole.
It's a real fucking shithole.
Just like he says in America, coming to America, it's a real fucking shithole.
Yeah, it's the type of joint that you don't want that you just sleep on top of the sheets. Yeah, that type of joint.
There's weekly rentals there.
There's weekly. They're not hourly. They're weekly. It's the other. Yeah, the other white meat is a bad time.
I think that was probably one of the first times that might have been the first gig where you did the run. It might have been like one of like my first times going out on the road with you was meeting you at the Jamaica.
Really? Yeah, that sounds possible.
Yeah.
That sounds possible. I remember sleeping in the van once as opposed to sleeping in the room. And I don't know if it was like one of those instances where it was like, oh, well, you, Billy, and Zach are going to just get one room at the Jamaica Inn and just crash there the night before we fly. And the flight's at stupid o'clock. So, just crash there and be like, all right, cool. I'm going to sleep in the van because I'm not going back into that room.
I remember that happening. I really do remember at some point that might have happened where I might have been on that where you did that. I really do. Because I remember you're like, oh, no fucking way, bro.
No, but I'm not fucking sleeping in there.
No. These are exaggerated, Joe Muller. I love you.
I'm not fucking sleeping in there. And to this day, I don't know who I need to check with, but I may still legally be married to Billy in one of the continental 50 states.
You are. I saw you married. Well, did you get married to?
It was under a nice archway and
at the Palm Springs Resorts Hotel.
And the Pussycat Dolls were playing inside.
So we were the only predominantly male group of people walking around this weekend that was specifically geared towards women. And it was very geared towards women. And this was a crazy gig, Annie. And do you remember? So we get there and we have our own like hotel suites and huts. And we started, meshing with some cool people at the bar because that's the first place we go to, the bar. And we met some cool people, started hanging out. Well, that might have been the next night, but only because we weren't allowed to hang out where the main party was. We were only
we weren't.
We were only allowed to do the gig set up, and then go to the gig for the gig, and then break down, and we had to leave the premises where the party was. That's just the way it was for this private party. There was a pirate ship, and when I say a pirate ship, it was decadent beyond anything you could think of, Annie.
I remember the boat. I remember the pirate ship. I remember the bar. I remember getting married. I remember getting yelled at for being a man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that was the term used, and
I'm gonna use that magic editing tool myself.
Yeah, dude, do it. And we were not looked. We were not welcomed at any extra activity. That's all. But it was a great time.
Nice.
And that brings me back to the time that Joe and Billy decided to take me to a gay bar in Birmingham, Alabama, and not tell me.
Wow.
That was great.
You didn't think that Birmingham, Alabama had a gay bar, but it did.
We were doing a private gig. Do you remember this private gig? Annie, I'll shut up. I know we're probably running low on time. I don't know what anybody's time schedule is. So the gig was for a super rich guy, and he rented out a multi-use hall that had a small club, remember, a 2-tier club, and then there was a catering area and a 50s diner that was attached to it.
Okay.
And he brought in 2 or 3 Olympic skaters, and they brought in an ice skating rink into the convention part of the multi-use arena that we were using, this multi-use area. They had an ice rink there, and then they had a booze setup. Remember the booze setup with the ice? And it was everywhere.
Your fucking memory is stellar.
I can't remember. So this is just the setup to the story.
I know.
Afterwards, we get the gig done. It was a great gig. It was a little club that reminded me of like old New York club. It was really cool. It was a birthday for 60 people, maybe 75 people max. Remember?
Okay, yeah.
And after the gig, the guy's like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And we start walking. We find a bar. It's called The Quest. And I remember just being behind you guys, and you guys were chatting. I don't know.
And Billy knew it as soon as he saw the place.
They knew it was. They knew it was a gay bar, and they brought. Oh shit!
What?
I ran out of power. So Billy and Joe take me into this bar, and the guy's like, "Are y'all members?" Remember his voice?
Yeah.
He's like, "Are y'all members?" And
it was exactly that.
And he goes, and we're like, no. And Billy's like, well, what do we have to do to be a member? He's like, well, you all need to pay the membership fee and then sign up for our mailing list. And I was like, all right. So I go in there and I'm looking around and there's just a bunch of dudes drinking. They're like, hey, dude, normal. I wasn't paying attention. We sign up. It was a $3 membership or $2 membership fee. And beers were $1.
$1. Yep. I remember.
Wow.
The whole time I'm thinking to myself, why is this place so cheap? and then you and Billy were already, you already knew it.
Oh yeah.
And I go into the bathroom to go do my business, and on the bathroom wall, it hit me. There was pictures of studs is the only word I could say. Well hung studs everywhere.
Wow.
That was one of my favorite moments with you and Billy.
This has just been a lot of fun because I forgot about a lot of this stuff. That one, shit, dude. If somebody else told me that story, I'd tell them they were making it up. But funny enough, the dollar beers is really what brought it back to me. Not the fact that it was a gay bar, but also me and Billy seeing what the place was and be like, oh, we're taking beef into this place, man.
Well, you guys were married, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes
so
sense.
There was that too.
I was trying to think of any other gigs that we did together. I know we did like the Ventura County Fair.
That might have been
I think that was the
zip line.
Yeah.
I think Del Mar was the zip line.
Okay, you gotta send me that.
Yeah,
Like
I will.
Isn't it the
In Del Mar?
Yeah,
California.
Del Mar. That's where they isn't there a racetrack there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was on the racetrack.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sure. I know.
Yeah, we did that gig a few times.
Oh, many. That's where I got caught smoking.
Wow.
That's a whole nother story. That's where we got caught smoking pot. Bum, bum, bum. We got caught smoking pot. Bum, bum, bum.
And the other one was like another gig where you went to the gig earlier and then we showed up after. Was at the
Oh, dude. I want to talk about a shitty fucking gig. Yes.
Yeah, I did that gig with Murchie.
Yeah.
That gig sucked. You guys, okay, so.
We showed up at like 3:00 in the afternoon.
You showed up at 3:00 in the afternoon. No, I think you guys showed up. No. You guys showed up. I got there and set up everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
This is the setup show and fly-in show.
And then you guys were flying in from somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there.
And I don't think you were there, Beef. And you guys got there. The opening act got off the stage, and you guys were still in the fucking air when the opening act got off the stage. And it was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
In between the opening act and Joan by the time you guys got there. And then it was like, oh, we're going to do a line check. When are you going to do a fucking line check? Get on the stage and play. Oh, that fucking gig sucked.
Yeah,
that gig
that's
sucked.
right. That's right. I remember you calling me too about the lights. Like,
yeah.
They focus somewhere? I'm like, just.
I think that might have been like the.
Symmetrical. I love symmetrical lighting.
What was his name? And like he left and went home, and I was there, and you guys were meeting up with me, and I was picking up the back end of it.
That's right.
That gig sucked. On that note, should we let Puss have some din?
Yeah, dude, I think.
And put something in her tum tum for her rum and her tum tum.
You know, there's so much that could be said and done, and we could do this another time, I'm sure.
Hey, man, I'll come back on whenever. Especially, you got.
I think we should get foursome going. You, me, Billy Crater, and some of the, classic, some of the other classic.
Please, that would be my fucking pleasure, dude. Please.
We're gonna start doing. Three's great, and it really does work. But we have to do something with a recruunion.
A recruunion. I love it.
If we could get Billy to figure out this technology this week, then we're golden.
I'm telling you, all we did, both Annie and I explained to him, all you do is put headphones on and click.
Yeah, well, maybe Susie could figure it out for him.
Yeah.
Shit, man, maybe
we got to find Joe D too. I'm sure we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should get going though, man. I got the I'm old.
The Dark Lord of the stage all night. I want to just
end the podcast, but then yeah. We'll say an official by off.
All right.
Yeah.
So much, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for tuning in with us and joining us on the Crewicide podcast. And hopefully we see you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I think Beef froze. Did you freeze, Beef?
Oh, that's just his face.
You all froze. You froze, Annie.
All right. You have anything to add at the end? Then now you're back.
No, I'm good. You said it all. You're the one for that.
All right.
I talked enough.
All right. All right. I'm ending the recording.
No, let's go give me a second. Yeah! Give me a second, bro! Crewicide! Crewicide! Crowd! Crewicide! Crewicide! Shaka, bro! Crewicide! 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 Crewicide!